What if I told you the technique that Mike Guy specializes in because he's a taijutsu expert? It's a technique that allows you to access your chakra limiters basically to be able to produce more power and things of that sort. Each gate you open have a different price. If you can open enough of them, you will even change appearances and transform and get ridiculously increased statistics like strength and speed. What if I told you Kakashi himself can do this when he wishes? Maybe not as many as Guy, but maybe open a couple or 3 or 4 or something. Oh boy, this super ninja. This is an incredible ninja. He goes through some different evolutions, like, for example, he can't deactivate his Sharingan at will, so he has to close his eye to conserve chakra. Late in this video, I'm going to talk about how he gets buffed, and thanks to these new eyes, he can do a lot more new stuff. But this is like a temporary power-up. Late in the video, you're going to see that he ends up losing both of these. Despite losing this mighty Sharingan, he learns new techniques in replace of it, and he's even gotten stronger even after losing both these eyes, which you're going to see in this video, but you got to respect him though. Have you ever wondered who was Naruto's teacher? Well, Naruto had several, but one of the most famous ones, one that we've all technically bonded with, was this being known as Kakashi Sensei. I mean, when we got introduced to him when Naruto was still getting his footing, back when Naruto and Sasuke was young and still trying to become good, he was already a Jonin class, which is the class right below Hokage level. Even though he technically wasn't Hokage of the village at the time, you know, the leader, top of the food chain, that's usually what the Hokage is known for. He technically was already Hokage level, if we're going to be all the way honest. Being an elite ninja in Naruto, he can do a lot of different things when it comes to ninja arts and things of that such. Just like everybody else in this show, he had to go through his fair share of progression. Most of it off screen though. The show's not called Kakashi, it's called Naruto. Heck, his evolution even got so great to where he even got to the point where he actually became Hokage. Well earned, right? I mean, look who his supposed rival is. A top tier like Mike Guy, who's definitely Hokage level, especially if he opened 7 gates. And looks like this, you know, this is definitely a Hokage level power. And this is his supposed rival. They call each other eternal rivals, apparently. You can see while young, Kakashi and them engaged in hand-to-hand combat, taijutsu. So yeah, fighting skill at a young age, using shurikens and whatever needed, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he did hand-to-hand combat with a Jiraiya clone. Don't judge him. I mean, they describe him as smarter than Shikamaru, somebody that specializes in intelligence and critical thinking. They say his sense of smell is better than Kiba. At this time period, better Sharingan skills than Sasuke. At this time, of course, Sasuke surpassed him recently. And they say he has better taijutsu than Rock Lee, somebody that was a taijutsu specialist and wants to become a great ninja just from straight hand-to-hand combat, aka taijutsu. And they're saying he's better than all these beings in these categories during this specific time period. He's a well-rounded ninja. Of course, this could be an exaggeration because Naruto looks up to him, but who knows? I mean, Kakashi seemed pretty top tier. Physically speaking, that's not what he specializes in, but he's still superhuman in that aspect as well. It's heavily implied when you see him using melee weapons and all kinds of good stuff. One example of improvements he's made is a combination with the Sharingan helping him out. He improved to where once a jutsu that was imperfected, he perfected it. Talk about development. You're going to see a lot more of this stuff later. It's occasions like this that nobody pays attention to. So he's definitely superhuman. You try doing push-ups with a girl and a dude sitting on you with one finger. Not to mention it's implied he did almost 200 reps. He physically stopped this big shuriken strike with his hand, bare hand, with physical clashing blows with Zabuza. What's crazier is him parrying a sword strike. This sword is this big and he still blocks it, despite the size difference. The sword Zabuza holds is massive and is made of steel, and it has to weigh over 50 plus pounds. By the way, big blades like this, he can physically swing around. This also shows he has some superhuman physicals because he uses it in combat to slice beings in half. You can't sleep on his physicals. Like a massive sword he blocks with a shuriken. You can see him using the big sword to block attacks here in this occasion. Stuff like this nobody pays attention to, how far they went flying physically. That's because Kakashi tossed them that far. And he can move decently fast with beings on his back, carrying Naruto here. During Sasuke's villain arc when he was rebelling and crabbed Sasuke older, Kakashi, his former master, had to step in. Stuff like this nobody pays attention to either. His physical strength is strong enough to where when he punches Sasuke on this occasion, he goes flying decently high in the air. I'm talking about that high when they was way down there. He can punch through all this rubble from under the ground. Physicals like busting through the ground here. Kakashi has a whole bunch of blasts and things that's of that such. It's easy to underestimate how hard of a worker he is when it comes to physical type stuff. Climbing things with one arm behind his back. It's easy to forget that he's physically still superhuman, even though he doesn't need his physical attributes to hit you real hard. I mean, we already know that Kakashi trained Sasuke while he was young, right? This type of stuff makes you wonder how strong was Kakashi when he was around the same age. Sasuke younger is definitely weaker than he is when he's older, and even though Sasuke is younger here, he still can kick, knock out a big old giant bear If young Sasuke can kick this hard, and we know Kakashi can easily withstand his hits with his bare hands or arms, even Sasuke when he's older and stronger, Kakashi can physically keep up in raw speed and physicals and things of that such. It's fair to say that Kakashi can physically do similar to a large bear and hit him with his physicals and damage it and knock him out as well, especially while older, implying that Kakashi's physicals without any energy chakra-based attacks can physically tremble houses or at least knock out something that's house-sized. Being that he's probably at least physical to Sasuke while he was in his young age, or one could even say greater than. It depends on how you see it, though. Basically, if Kakashi was in the same situation, he would be able to hit hard enough to put this bear to sleep with his physical blows as well. But enough of that. Let's talk about his ninja arts right quick. You're probably wondering what's up with his eye. Why does Kakashi have that eye when only members of this clan are supposedly supposed to have eyes like that? The Sharingan. Kakashi was actually cool with a Uchiha clan member that everybody believed that died, named Obito, but didn't actually die. But back in them old days, he blessed him with his Sharingan. Yes, you can actually use people's eyes in this show. This kind of helped him get the reputation of copy ninja. Because in the world of Naruto, beings can use their inner energy with ninja training, hand signs, and all that good stuff to produce energy projective type stuff from different elements. Some characters specialize in certain elements. Some characters can use a lot of different elements. Some things are known to be clan exclusive, like the KK Genkai. That would be like the Sharingan. But unfortunately, he actually got these eyes because as a literal gift. Well, not eyes, the one eye. Part of the reason why he could be so powerful and part of the reason why he could be considered so well-rounded is because of this Sharingan. It allows him to copy stuff jutsu just by looking at it with the Sharingan. Apparently, he has over 1,000 different techniques at his disposal. It's not an exaggeration when they call him the mirror ninja or copy ninja because he's copied so many techniques. We've even seen him copy techniques in thick mist where you can hardly see. It's seriously not wise to do a jutsu right in front of him. You can clearly see his eye open watching you do it. Instantly copies the move perfectly in the middle of combat. Mirrored them all instantly because of the Sharingan. All his moves and gestures. Reading his mind, apparently? He literally copies them mid-fight. He was able to do the jutsu before he had a chance to finish doing his jutsu he knew what he was going to do. He then copied Kisame's ninja art and blasted him. Despite Kakashi being this versatile and this skilled in a lot of different ways, he only has natural chakra reserves, no over-the-top natural chakra reserves like Uzumaki clan members or Tail Beast and stuff. Like it's even explained here, some characters are just naturally blessed with higher chakra reserves, so some jutsu, it's not smart for him to spam. He has to be smart and strategic. You have to be smart and be in Kakashi's situation to be elite. He can't spam jutsu like other characters because he has less chakra reserves. He even says Naruto has 4 times more chakra than him. Just imagine how scary Kakashi would be if he actually had crazy amounts of chakra reserves and he's already an elite ninja with limits like this. An example would be like in this fight, he did 4 lightning blades. And he talked about, I can't let this drag on, like 4 lightning blades takes a lot out of him apparently. Lightning blade again and activates it again. It stated that this took a lot out of him. If he'd have did the Manga, he would have been in the hospital. He has to be careful on his energy reserves or stamina reserves. Just like most ninjas in Naruto, he can use his chakra into his feet so he can stand on water and all cool stuff like that. That's light work ninja stuff. Even while young, he knew how to walk on water. He ends up getting Sharingan in both his eyes, but I'm going to get to that stuff later on in this video. He gets a buff later on, you know what I mean? But without even counting stuff like this yet, he just knows a lot of jutsu. Having Sharingan in both eyes is like the ultimate combination, but even though Kakashi, for the majority of the series, had one Sharingan, it at least had multiple stages, Mangekoi level, but it's something that drains him really badly and he needs to get the job done quick. He's extremely versatile and can use pretty much all the major elements, chakra nature elements, you know, chakra that actually mimics elemental stuff we know of in real life, like fire, water, earth, lightning, blah, blah, blah. Elemental stuff. When it comes to chakra manipulation techniques like the Chidori, for example, he has better versions of the Chidori. Kakashi seems to like lightning, doesn't he? Kakashi's lightning blade that he taught to Sasuke got his nickname because he once sliced lightning using this jutsu. Gets creative with his lightning or advanced versions, like making a beast out of lightning to run after you. Even a lightning shadow clone. This mighty organization known as the Akatsuki, right? You guys know how strong Itachi and Kasami is. He's the being that has fought Tail Beast thanks to Haxi type stuff. He can kind of absorb the energy of a Tail Beast to weaken him and give Tail Beast Jinchuriki issues. And despite all this stuff and all this water style jutsu he has, Itachi pretty much gave Kakashi props saying, if you was to spar with Kakashi, you would not get away injury or scotch-free. They're not really here to suffer injuries. They're saying Kakashi's formidable. He knows techniques that can release you from genjutsu, or one can say illusions that affect your inside of your head, makes you see bullcrap. He can release you from that stuff. He used genjutsu on Sakura here. aka illusions to make her see stuff that's not really going on. Sasuke looking jacked up like this is not really happening. He knows techniques that can help him parry or replace his body with an inanimate object so he will not get hit directly. He does this with clones or water clones as well. Yes, he can do the shadow clone jutsu. Yes, I know it's a technique Naruto, the main character, seems to spam, but Kakashi can do it too. Fitting for a teacher. He can make shadow clones out of lightning to zap you if you hit him. He can use his shadow clone jutsu in conjunction by making like a lightning looking cable here. So he can even pull out a kunai knife or blade and charge it with his lightning style elemental release, like in this occasion. Who's to say he can't put this lightning around a bigger sword? And then he can do the standard shadow clones Naruto always does. He can also create water clones, just like shadow clones. This is because he was literally fighting Zabuza and he did it right in front of him, copying as a technique. He can do water style techniques that covers a big area of effect. Even big waterfalls he can blast out. And like a shark bomb here. Get to the Akatsuki member. Or a water wall. In this occasion, you can see him blast with a whole bunch of water to counter fire. Something a lot of characters can do, they can teleport beings to them instantly if they have a pet with them, like these beasts, for example, like these dogs. He will even do this in combat so the dogs will gang up on the enemy for him. This is how it looks when you see him summon and hit the ground with their hands after doing the hand signs. He can do earth style releases like this mud wall. He does this earth wall stuff here too. You get the idea. Yes, he can even do the Rasengan. You know, Naruto's signature technique. He even has Haxi type of jutsu, like some battlefield removal type jutsu, thanks to the Manga Sharingan. He can kind of teleport you somewhere else, another dimension. Like right here, for example, he can teleport this thing away with his Mangekyo Kamui. But when you add all this stuff together, it makes you wonder, how hard can Kakashi slash, hit, kick, or anything of that nature? Let's get into it. For one, another Hokage level being like Might Guy is considered his rival. Might Guy stated he's stronger, and I do believe he's actually stronger because Might Guy specializes in physical attributes, while Kakashi has physical attributes, but he mixes that in with his Sharingan stuff, blast power stuff, energy projective type stuff to make him more of a threat. Might Guy can do that stuff too, but he's more on the physical brutish type stuff. And he also knows jutsu to enhance himself even further and stuff. I've already mentioned this though, but when it comes to his cutting power, he has this lightning style technique where he basically makes his arm turn into a lightning blade because it focuses immense chakra into an arm, transforms it into a blade that can cut through anything. When you look at the inanimate objects Kakashi can cut, he can cut big tree trunks with this lightning blade technique. Even when he's real young, he busts through this giant mushroom, showing his cutting destructive power. Even wood being near the area gets shattered. His attacks that can blow up all this mess. We've seen him blast through characters like Haku, so it gives you an idea of what this technique can do to the human body. Yeah, when it comes to human bodies, this lightning blade will pierce clean holes through beings. A good idea of how strong Kakashi's is by look at how Sasuke's was literally right after Kakashi teached him. Look what it does to the rocks. You know that guy known as Pain or Nagato or whatever you want to call him. He was using multiple bodies. He was able to pierce one of the bodies with his lightning blade attack, really damage it. It was cybernetic kinda. One can argue that his water dragon jutsus, you see all the water they can produce. One can say it can level small buildings by the size of these water dragons. That's totally reasonable when you see how small they are in comparison to the big explosion they produce from the water dragons. Yeah, these are definitely blasting apart some houses. Look how small he looks in comparison to it. One can argue this helped because they was on top of a lake, you know what I mean? So one can say they can use the environment to amp themselves if they're in the perfect situation. But yeah, these are definitely blasting away building though. Like, look at the forest. So with simple jutsus like water dragon jutsu, it's fair to say that a jutsu like this has enough destructive power to easily blow away an entire forest. I don't think nobody's denying that with techniques like this, he could definitely level a building or two or multiple houses or some crap. That's fair, right? I personally think with his blast power or jutsu, he could do this as a kid, if we're being honest. We're not gonna forget when I showed you earlier of him doing this to Kasami. Orochimaru said Kabuto ain't taking on Kakashi. Since he's so good with lightning style stuff, Kakashi can absorb lightning with his own lightning blade. That comes in handy. There was this Akatsuki member, right? And this ninja known as Choji was about to land on him. This dude Kagazu used an earth style body hardening technique to increase his durability, right? Kakashi was watching and saw him harden his body, and you see how the impact it does right there? After smashing Kakazu, Kakashi knew what kind of jutsu he did, and he knows that his lightning style is a perfect counter for him. Earth is inferior to lightning. That's why he was able to pierce his body, piercing through Kakazu here, even though he was more durable than he usually would be. You know, there's tail beasts that exist in this universe. You got the tail beasts, and you also got their hosts. They call these beings Jinchuriki when these tail beasts are one with an entity. I mean, there's a lot of different tail beasts we could talk about, but let me use Killer Bee for reference. He just so happens to be a Jinchuriki that actually has full control of his tail beast. He has different modes or forms he can go into with his tail beast. For example, this is his first stage. One can say base form. He can then decide to cloak himself with something of the tail beast's power and give himself extra durability and all that stuff, amplifying himself. He can also power up like this. So can other tail beasts. I'm bringing this up for a reason. Killer Bee just happens to be one that can go hybrid like this, and then he can go into full mode like this. Tailed beasts can shoot dense amounts of chakra energy blasts known as tailed beast bombs. Pretty much any tailed beast bomb for the most part, or tailed beast in general, can level mountains and can withstand the same amount of force they can blast out. Like you see in this occasion here, these different tailed beasts are using their own energy. You see how each of these blasts was swiped away, and notice how they can definitely level mountains based on their own separate explosions. You're probably wondering why am I bringing this up, because Kakashi with his lightning blade, along with Might Guy, like you literally see these tailed beasts in this cloaked up state, right? It's multiple of them, right? Kakashi using his lightning blade blitzes in while Guy's using his attacks. Its implications he's doing damage to these cloaked beasts that can blow away mountains and endure mountain type of explosions because they've withstood their own blast before. You can even see Kakashi in the background and Guy working together fighting these tailed beasts. Because you remember the old days when Naruto was cloaked like this, going berserk mode and got his own blast hit back at him, and they created a mountain-sized explosion right in his face, and his durability was able to hold up to all of this. Even Pain giving him props like magnificent power type stuff. But you're probably thinking, oh man, he ain't cloaked tailed beast level because he didn't do no damage to him. Well, actually, with Guy here, I brought this up earlier, this lightning style attack mixed it in with his shadow clone jutsu technique, was able to cut up, aka damage tailed beasts with his attacks. This will mean that some of his more potent attacks can actually damage some forms of tailed beasts, which is impressive. While it is true he can't spam attacks on this tier, it's definitely implied he can definitely slice a mountain up with the amount of cutting power his lightning blade can produce based on the fact he can damage tailed beasts. Leveling a mountain does not have bad for a ninja that has normal chakra reserves. He's not even a tailed beast or nothing. Damaging him with his lightning cables. Like in this occasion, for example, this isn't necessarily Kakashi, but Kakashi taught Sasuke the Chidori technique, and it's always clashing with Rasengan technique. One can use this as an example to understand Kakashi's blast power. And with the Chidori's blast power is that something that Kakashi taught him in the beginning early days could clash with a technique that's been confirmed that this Rasengan, especially this bigger one, for example, can carve away a mountain. And if we assume that Kakashi can produce Chidori that can clash with a Rasengan, we could kind of assume that he can also carve away a mountain too, based on this information about how Chidori and a Rasengan can clash in power. Is that fair? But maybe Kakashi could take on some of these tail beasts back here, maybe not the ones on this end. Kakashi did admit that Naruto is stronger than himself. And when you look at the power level Naruto is currently at, he was in Tailed Beast Golden looking state, basically a state where he learned how to control the Nine Tails power pretty well. But him being weaker than Naruto doesn't really debunk his power level still though. Just because you can't beat the mightiest tailed beast doesn't mean you can't hang in there or get the W on like a one-tailed beast or two-tailed beast, like one of these tailed beasts back here, you know what I mean? In a one-on-one maybe. Maybe if they ganged up on Kakashi that would be too much, but maybe he can fight one of the lower end tailed beasts one-on-one. You know what I mean? Using his brain and intelligence on top of it. You know what I'm saying? He uses the lightning blade here to where there's giant boulders. He uses his lightning blade in the kunai to slice open this big rock. Even Mike Guy says that's nice. You can get an idea of how big it was in this angle right here. One can say he can produce long-range mountain-shattering attacks if he just puts his lightning blade in the shuriken and throw it at you. Using his lightning blade like this is very smart because you can use it like a lightning rope. You know, the Ten Tails had like a little shell. All the tail beasts were in at first. The Gido statue itself. Like in this occasion, you can see him using the blade to try to restrain this big statue. Or one could say shell of the Ten Tails. You see him trying to wrap it up like this. That's him. You guys remember earlier how I talked about how he's going to get a buff? Well, let's just say when he get an extra Sharingan, either an extra Mangekoi Sharingan, one could say it's like, say it with me, it's a temporary power up and then he loses both eyes. But the power up he gets is astronomical. Yeah, he got a gift. Kakashi of the Sharingan getting both eyes. He can do the stuff that all the top tier Uchiha can do, making humanoid energy construct beings known as the Susanoo. Kakashi has technically joined this fan club. We don't necessarily get many feats of him in this full-blown Susanoo state, but it's a fair assumption that he's similar to other Susanoos we've seen. For example, we've seen Madara Susanoo cut multiple mountains at the same time with one sword swipe with his Susanoo. One can make an argument that Kakashi can make several mountains tremble as well, or just simply delete multiple mountains with a simple sword slash as well. One could say he should be able to do as well. Appears that he can make this humanoid thing that he's in float, like he can kind of do some flying type stuff. He can combine Kamui's power with the Mangekoi with the double eyes, throw projectiles, like this, for example, when they was fighting Kaguya. And look at this. He apparently got those eyes and apparently gained 6 paths power. Naruto roasting him saying, it's better than yours, Sasuke. Even though Naruto's like considered one of the top speedsters of the show right now, he considers this particular attack fast. Kakashi's Susanoo is fast enough to intercept the attack and save her in time. It kind of gives you an idea of how fast he's compared to the top tiers. Based on the stuff we've seen Madara do in his perfect Susanoo state, Kakashi in this state could probably split an entire island down the middle with his raw power. Just to give you some idea of how strong Susanoo's can be, Madara in this particular situation can literally withstand Tail Beast bombs with his Susanoo. He can put out the same force he can withstand. Tail Beast blasts can level entire islands and make ridiculously large blast radius like this, so it's obvious Kakashi can do something similar and attack with similar force, you know. You remember earlier when I said Kakashi admitted that Naruto at the time period was stronger than him? Well, in this state, thanks to him getting 6 paths chakra and stuff, one can say he's up there with him, but that's up for interpretation. What do you guys think about that? By the way, his Susanoo got shattered, unfortunately, but it got shattered by a godlike being like this that can probably destroy the whole planet with one blast. But fortunately, he can go intangible, and he has a new move called the Kamiya Lightning Blade and does this, showing that, yeah, he can attack really hard even without the Susanoo itself. Yeah, having 2 of those eyes when you're not a Uchiha burns you out. It's like an intangibility technique where he hits you while he's still intangible. And it will also help battlefield remove you, so it's kind of hacksy. Not necessarily with the damage output itself, though. One can say this attack technically ignores durability. But you're probably thinking, none of this doesn't matter anyway because he lost all his power because this was a temporary power-up, so he's back down way below Naruto and them again, right? But he actually lost both eyes. They said your eyes with an S. Kakashi of the Sharingan is no more. You're probably thinking, oh man, Kakashi's weak as heck now. No Sharingan abilities? Apparently, Kakashi got stronger after the war despite losing both eyes. Well, see, here's the thing. Apparently in this novelization about the 6th Hokage, Kakashi, it's apparently stated in the book itself. On page 127 of this novel, they pretty much talk about how years after this war with Madara and Obito, Kakashi has been doing some training off screen. So even though it seemed like logically speaking he would have got weaker, they said he found replacements even after losing both his eyes. What kind of new techniques does he have? What kind of strength has he acquired for something like this to be true? It's confirmed that they're talking about the Kakashi that said he can no longer use the Chidori, lost the Sharingan, but he found replacement techniques. And they said his chakra increased as well. If this information is true when it comes to his raw power, if they're talking about his raw attack power or potency, he would surpass beings like Pain then. Beings that can do kind of attacks that can blow away cities. I mean, Kakashi might not have no attack that causes this much area of effect, but there's a possibility he has something that can do similar destructive capacity. Since he can't use the Chidori no more and he doesn't have the Sharingan, he can use Purple Lightning-ish type of release, which is apparently stronger than anything he's ever done, including the Susanoo? That's wild to think about. Due to the Susanoo's sheer size, it looks like it would produce a lot more power. But hey, that's what they say. Well, current Kakashi is stated to be above himself when he had a Susanoo and stuff like that. Their words, not mine, by the way. And if we take that as seriously, just remember that one of the tail beasts, like the Nine Tails, for example, can turn the world into ash, apparently. I mean, if that's tail beast that strong, I think a fair assumption would be that he can definitely level cities. That's definitely fair. Or one could say he could do a lightning strike so hard that it would split it or some crap. You know, something like that of that neighborhood. Like, even if you don't want to assume Kakashi can produce enough power to mess up the entire planet, what if we assume he can mess up a smaller planetoid, like maybe the moon or a smaller moon or something? I mean, there's all type of different sized moons. Even if you want to assume he can mess up a moon this big, maybe we can assume he can mess up even smaller planetoids. You know, we never really got no showings of this, but there's a possibility, thanks to them confirming that he's gotten stronger over the years, even though he lost both eyes, that his blast can maybe level a country or two, maybe a continent, things in that neighborhood, because we know Naruto characters can destroy the moons and stuff, especially the top tiers and stuff. I mean, we got one example of his cutting power here when he used it to cut this big entity. Look at the size of it. So yeah, his cutting power is that crazy despite its size. Without his Sharingan, you think he's actually stronger than he was when he had a Susanoo? When it comes to his fighting speed, it's implication that he can move like a blur during combat, even while young. So you know he can do this even better when he's older. Moving as a blur. Look how they draw it. Think about it, guys. Do y'all remember when Rock Lee's speed first got introduced? And he was so unbelievably fast, he was looking like a blur. And y'all remember when Sasuke was able to copy Rock Lee's fighting style and his speed thanks to the help of the Sharingan when he was young. And despite Sasuke being able to move like a blur now, even though Sasuke's an adult, notice how Kakashi has no problem reacting to his fighting speed or attacks, showing that Kakashi can react to speed. that are blinding fast. And you're not just going to speed blitz somebody like Kakashi. He's fast too. When we're talking about the concept of speed, Kakashi seems like he can always keep up. The best idea to get an understanding of Kakashi's speed is to understand Obito's speed. This guy pretty much has reacted to blitzes all throughout the saga. Even beings that are considered speedster type characters that are coming at him full speed, he can react to their blitz and go intangible before they can hit. Raikage is one of the fastest beings in the show and is at least as fast as lightning, but they say he has some attacks known as the Lariat, where he attacks close to the speed of light in data books or whatever. Despite this fact, Obito can still react to the Raikage's speed blitzes. I mean, we're talking about a guy, even when Naruto's got full control of a tailed beast and is like a new speedster that has speed better than Raikage or as fast, for some reason Naruto just can't speed blitz Obito before he can go intangible, bro. He can just activate it too fast. But when he fights Kakashi without going intangible, when it comes to raw fighting speed, them as an adult, you can clearly see the speed isn't a ridiculous gap when it comes to fighting speed. With all this being in consideration, considering that even beings as fast as Raikage can't just speed blitz him when it comes to his reaction speed, since Kakashi and Obito have similar fighting speed, even if you want to say Obito got a little bit of an advantage, it isn't a vast gap. This could imply that Kakashi can react to things close to the speed of light at the very least. But even if you don't want to go that far, one can say Kakashi is at least as fast as lightning when it comes to being able to react to stuff. Sure, not every lightning styled attack in the show is lightning speed. I would say this one in particular probably is. They talk about it going at high speed. Like this lightning type of attack here, you see he's nowhere to be seen and he's able to intercept such fast stuff. If you don't want to believe in the close to light speed stuff, he has to bare minimum be at least a lightning level fast, which would mean he can react to stuff moving at least 200,000 miles per hour. You can get a clear understanding of his speed when he's training Naruto and them, like when they was young and noobs. They try to come and he's already right behind them, speed blitzing him. I mean, he's too fast for them. He can read a book. If you throw shuriken at him, he can just stop it. I mean, when Naruto was in cloaked two tails form, he's fast enough to get the jump on him fast. But I hope you guys got respect for Kakashi, one of Naruto's best mentors or senseis. Even to this day, he's still technically a threat if you were to take what those books says as Bible. But before I get going, I gotta give a quick thanks for the donations, everybody. Helps out a lot. Respect Kakashi. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.